F125 My Team Career Mode for Season 2, Round number 6, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Yes, we're at Imola for the first time on this game. Another new track for F125, or at least one we haven't, raced at in Season 1. And as usual, getting some research done, getting some development done, and getting some facility improvements done, as we always do. I'm actually deciding in that instance, I've gone for the kind of the dual development, because no matter what, it was gonna come through for, I think, the Austrian Grand Prix, whether I did single or dual development. However, with that one there, I did single development because there is a chance that, although it'll cost me a bit more money, I will get the upgrades a little bit quicker if I do them singularly. Looking at R&D, and you can see that Red Bull and Mercedes are still kind of flying out at the front. We are now back ahead of Williams. I mean, we were kind of right there with Williams last race. We're now just ahead of them again, as we've had some upgrades come through for this race weekend. They have not. But yeah, Red Bull and Mercedes a fair way ahead of us and the rest of the grid now. So yeah, it looks like they are really building a good car this season. As we get into Q1 here at Imola, I quite like Imola. It's a fun track to drive. It's not the best for overtaking. I mean, it's fine. You've only really got, it only tends to really be one opportunity down into like turn 1 or turn 2, whatever you call it, because there's that bit of a kink on the straight. So it's not the best track for overtaking, but I find it a relatively fun track to drive around. And yeah, was excited to see how I would do here on the F125 game at this track. After Q1, Lando Norris goes quickest. He's showing some good pace there. And big surprise, actually, of Aiden Jackson out in Q1 in the Red Bull. That is not great. It's nice to see Paul Aaron, my teammate, getting out of Q1. But yeah, Jackson in the Red Bull out in Q1 with the fastest car on paper, that Red Bull. So yeah, very unfortunate for him. He's had a bit of an up and down season so far, some really good results, some not so great ones. He has had a few podiums in the last couple of races, but looks like that's not going to be the case here. As we then are in Q2, currently sitting P7, going pretty well at the moment. Pace seems decent. Like I said, we are a fair way behind Red Bull and Mercedes on paper, so this could be a difficult one. We of course won last time out in Miami. Was that the last race? I think that was the last race. And yeah, here though, you can see Paul Aaron actually goes P2. My teammate goes quicker than me, and it means we're both into Q3 here, so that's big. Antonelli, Cali Meyer, they're the real, I guess, shocks out of Q2. And I mean, Alex Albon actually in that Williams, which is 4th quickest car on paper now, so a bit of a surprise to see him out of qualifying. But yeah, my teammate Paul Aaron is in Q3, and yeah, he was actually quicker than me in that lap. And that felt like a decent lap to me. I mean, it definitely wasn't the best lap ever, but that Q2 lap felt like a decent lap. This time here in Q3 though, I will be honest, this has not been a great start. We actually run slightly wide, and our first sector here is going to be slower than our first run, which I believe the first run was on a used set of tyres. So yeah, currently not finding the pace here. I think I'm just pushing a little bit too hard, trying to get as much out of this as we can. Because yeah, we're not even a tenth, we're not even half a tenth up on our previous time. And yeah, that was on a used set of tyres. So really needing to find some time here in the final sector. Sector 2 is better, but we're still less than a tenth up on our best time. We've made a little bit of time through the chicane there, but then lose more time on the exit. And this really doesn't look like it's going to be an amazing time. Aaron is actually ahead of us now. We go late on the brakes though into this final couple of corners. This is where we make up a bit of time. We're just under 2 tenths up now. It's still, we're only going to be about a tenth and a half up on our previous lap time, which isn't amazing. And in the end, it's going to be P6 for us, only just ahead of our teammate Paul Aaron by a tenth. So P6 and P7. So it's a pretty poor qualifying for myself, all things considered, but a good one for Paul Aaron. It is, though, once again a Mercedes front row lockout with George Russell on pole once again, with Oscar Piastri alongside him, and Pierre Gasly third for his, I think, best result, qualifying result so far with Red Bull.
Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. One lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula One circuits, will take our drivers round 3.1 miles of track, 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Behrman, Aaron, Verstappen, Hülkenberg and Lando Norris, Albon, Bortoletto, Calimaya and Antonelli, O'Sullivan, Jackson, Fernando Alonso and Liam Lawson, Ocon, Hadjar, Crawford and Jack Doohan rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box today, a man who I always look up to, which is easier said than done, Anthony Davidson. And the whole world of Formula One can't exist the way we do, walking with smiles on our faces and loving our time together. This new outfit has got a bit of a rivalry going, and I get the feeling a few noses are being put out of joint here.
Well, that's a good thing though, Crofty. You know what? If you're a member of that team, the new 11th team, take it as a backhanded compliment. It means you're doing very well, too well, and the other teams don't like it.
Here we go. It is time for the Imola Grand Prix, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here in Italy as we get underway. The Mercedes on the front row, Red Bull next, a Ferrari of Charles Leclerc putting in a good quali as well, and then Carlos Sainz getting a little bit boxed in actually by the Ferrari up ahead as we go into turn 1, and we're going to go round the outside of Carlos Sainz. It's a lovely little move there, but he's still alongside and trying to fight us down the next straight. We're going to go side by side with the Spaniard down to the next left-hander, just about get ahead of him and up into P5. So it's been a good start for us. We've made a position off the line here. It looks like Oscar Piastri's also gotten past Russell to lead this race. So the Mercedes have swapped in this first sector of this first lap. Gasly still second. Leclerc though looks to be putting on quite a bit of pressure to Gasly up ahead. So the Ferrari man, who hasn't had a really good result since the opening round in Australia where he got a bit of a shock win, you know, that Ferrari is not quick on paper, and that's kind of, you know, been showing in the last couple of races. It was just that first round in Australia where he really showed some pace. As we are maybe struggling a little bit here, we've fallen back a bit from the cars ahead. We've got signs all over the back of us that Williams is quick, we know that. And yeah, we do seem to be struggling a little bit at this track. We're already a second behind Leclerc. Now we've got to try and put our foot down and get ahead going into the first corner once again. But Sainz actually breezes past us. I think we've got a little bit too much downforce on the car because we just don't seem to have the straight line speed, especially when we don't have DRS. Next lap around, or a couple of laps later actually, we do have DRS though on Sainz, but we're only just going to get ahead of him before we get into turn 1, so back up to P5 again. But yeah, really struggling. We have great cornering grip, but great cornering speed, but we don't have the straight line speed. I think our car is we've got too much, it's too draggy, I guess. We've got a lot of grip through the corners, but on the straights, I mean, the main overtaking opportunity here is down the front straight. Now at the front, the two Mercedes are still battling it out. Piastri led the first couple of laps. Russell, though, on lap 4, has gotten himself back up into the lead, though, to lead this Grand Prix once again, and he will still be leading as they head onto lap 5. Piastri behind. Gasly has broken away with these guys as well, and broken away from Charles Leclerc, who's down in 4th and 2 seconds back from these guys now, as once again Piastri goes to the outside of Russell, gets past, and Gasly is gone for the move on Russell as well. They're side by side through these first couple of corners. A little bit of sideways action from George Russell. He might be down from P1 to P3 in one lap, and sure enough he is. Gasly gets past and up into P2. He's not had a podium so far this season for Red Bull, so he'll really be wanting to go for that, but he'll even more so want to go for the win. And sure enough, onto lap 6, he gets the move done on Piastri, and now Pierre Gasly leads the Imola Grand Prix for Red Bull. We are stuck battling with Sainz and actually Verstappen, the car behind us. Paul Aron is in P8, he's still in the points at the moment, but has fallen back about 4.5 seconds from myself. But yeah, we're just trying to stick it with Carlos Sainz here. And yeah, Verstappen putting a lot of pressure on behind us. Eventually, Sainz will come into the pits. The McLaren, the Williams just don't seem to have the tyre wear that everybody else does, you know, the tyre preservation. And that means we're vulnerable from Verstappen, and with our not particularly quick in a straight line car, Verstappen does get ahead of us. So we've now lost another position and have a big twitch coming out of that first couple of corners. Then on lap 14, we're into the pits for our hopefully one and only pit stop. Onto a set of hard tyres. It is just going to be a one stop here. That makes me wonder, like with the Williams, you know, they also started on the mediums. I think everybody started on the mediums, but both Williams came in quite a lot earlier. I just don't think their tyre preservation is not great, so they're probably going to be going for a two stop here, which I don't think it's going to work out well for them. They have a quick car. They have a quick car at the moment, but they just don't have that tyre life in them. So yeah, we'll see how they go. They're a little bit ahead of us at the moment. A few laps later though, and Verstappen's going to catch up to Albon. He is the second of the Williams, and Verstappen makes an easy move going down the front straight there, getting ahead of Alex Albon, of course, Verstappen's old teammate at Red Bull from a few years ago. And then we're going to come up on Albon as well. It's a little bit more difficult for us to overtake because we just don't seem to have that straight line speed, but we will go to the outside and get past him before the braking zone. And now up into P7 for us. Sainz is the car in P5, and Verstappen will eventually catch him. But yeah, with their pace and just the way they're driving here, they're on a set of hards, but I don't think they're going to be going to the end of the race here. They just don't seem to have the tyre wear to do that. As Verstappen gets past Sainz, up into P5 now. He's looking very quick here. One of the fastest cars on track is Verstappen. I definitely think he's going to be trying to catch up to Leclerc, because as you can see, Leclerc's only just ahead of us now. The top three have broken away quite substantially, and then you've got a big gap back to Leclerc, then Verstappen, and then myself, and we're just over 5 seconds ahead of Norris, who's now in P7. So, you know, we're looking at 4th, 5th, 6th. Our pace at the moment is pretty decent. We need to stay within DRS of Verstappen, as the Mercedes are going to keep squabbling at the front. That's Russell back ahead of Piastri once again to retake the lead, but you can see Gasly is right there behind them. This is a three-way fight for the win here. Now onto lap 24, we've caught back up to Verstappen. We're in DRS, and we're going to try and see if we can go for a move on Verstappen. We're going to go last minute to the left, but then he turns into us under braking and gives us front wing damage. That was a little bit of a late move. I mean, it was a late move for me, but it wasn't super late. I don't think it was. But for Max, he basically he defended way too late there, in my opinion, and almost, yeah, turned in under braking, moved under braking, and that means the damage was substantial on the front wing. We were losing a lot of time. The car was so understeery. I had to come in for a pit stop, and that is going to put us, I mean, that's put us out of contention for points. We're now down to P18. There's only 21 cars left in this race. Liam Lawson retired a few laps ago with a mechanical issue. So we are now in P18. The two Alpines are behind us, and there's one other car, which I don't know where that one is, but whoever that is, they're not having a very good time because they are way back. But yeah, now we've just got to try, and we're on a set of soft tyres, so hopefully going to be pretty quick here. But yeah, we are way behind everybody else. There is a big gaggle of cars that are up ahead of us, a lot of cars in a train, so we're going to catch up to the back of them. But yeah, we're pretty much out of the contention for points now. As at the front, heading on to lap 30, we now have, it's still Russell leading from Piastri. Piastri's going to go for the move on Russell once again. This kept happening, just kind of these guys switching all the time. Gasly just watching there in the background as, yeah, Piastri gets past at that point. Heading now onto the penultimate lap, lap 31. And I think it's going to be a change once again, and this will be the final move of this race, and it will be Russell getting back ahead of Piastri. That will win George Russell this race. Piastri will come home second, and Gasly third. They don't manage to get another move done. As we catch up to this gaggle of cars, and we have a lot more speed than these cars ahead of us, we're going to go for a bit of an unorthodox move there on Zach O'Sullivan in the Haas. Get that position, but it's too little too late. It's the second to last lap, and we're not even able to get past Bortoletto in the end. Jackson in the Red Bull, as we very nearly go into the back of Bortoletto there. Jackson really struggling this race. He's still down in P15. That's where he's going to finish. And for us, it's going to be by far our worst finish of this season, our worst race of the season so far. It's P17 for Oliver Bearman. No points on the board here in Imola. We won last race in Miami. We get no points here this time out in Italy. And yeah, that's going to plummet us down the driver's standings.
Here's the checkered flag. Here's our winner. By George, he's done it. Russell wins.
They led from lights out to the flag at the end, and their race victory was never in doubt, was it? Brilliant stuff by them.
We had drama from start to finish, but in the end, there was only ever one that could take that top spot. By George, he was good today. The top step awaits for George Russell.
Yes, it's another win for George Russell. 2 Grand Prix wins this season for him. So he matches Oliver Bearman, my wins this season. Piastri comes home for second place for another Mercedes 1-2. They are looking very strong. And Pierre Gasly gets his first podium of the season for Red Bull. He'll be happy with that. His teammate's been on the podium, I believe, twice this season. So Piastri to finally get, Gasly to finally get his first podium of the season. He'll be pretty happy about that to get his season going after some struggles in previous races. In the end, Paul Aaron does come home for P8, so thankfully TGL Motorsport do score some points this weekend, but it's not with Oliver Bearman. We just did not have the pace. Max Verstappen ends up P5, Leclerc P4, so he did stay ahead of Max in the end. Norris P6, Ocon manages a pretty good P7 as well for Haas. And in the Drivers' Championship, well, George Russell does take the lead of the championship once again, now 5 points ahead of Bearman, and Bearman just 1 point ahead of Piastri in third. It's very much a three-way fight at the moment. Gasly down in fourth, but he is 42 points behind Russell in the lead, so he's a fair way behind, and a bit of a shift in the constructors as well. Mercedes still absolutely dominating out front. Just the consistency of their two drivers is just beyond anyone else's. Red Bull second, McLaren third, just 3 points ahead of TGL Motorsport in fourth, and then you've got Ferrari, Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, Audi, aka Kick Sauber, and then VCarb and Alpine not scoring any points so far. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.